Sky News has a perfect piece of propaganda, by the way, partly owned by News Corp, of course, Rupert Murdoch. They now claim that Iran has an operational relationship with Al-Qaeda. Where have I seen this movie before? Remember when they said, oh, Iraq and Al-Qaeda, operational relationships all over the place. Once an Iraqi went to Germany and so did an Al-Qaeda guy, and they were both in the same country at the same time. We got to invade. Same exact movie here with Iran, but it's even less sensible because at least Saddam Hussein was Sunni, Al-Qaeda is Sunni. Iran and Al-Qaeda hate each other. Iran is Shia and Al-Qaeda is Sunni. They're sworn enemies. The one time Iran helped us over the last 10 years was when we went into Afghanistan because they wanted to also wipe out Al-Qaeda, which was one of their top threats in the region. So this argument in this article is nonsense, through and through, nothing but total horse crap propaganda. So here we go. All these things sprinkled in an article. This would be, the attacks would be maybe perhaps in Europe, and of course perhaps in northwest North Dakota, and they didn't mention that was Rick Santorum, but they're saying it could be anywhere at any point. That Iran has given some funding and safe haven for Al-Qaeda, that it has operational capacity to help Al-Qaeda, and that Iran is doing this apparently, and the attacks would be in revenge for killing Osama bin Laden. Iran hated Osama bin Laden. And then, I love this piece of evidence they have. They say Yassin al-Suri is an Al-Qaeda operative, one of the top operatives, and that Iran has him. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that could be true. You know why? Iran would want to capture one of the top Al-Qaeda operatives, and they'd put him in jail because they're against Al-Qaeda. No. They twisted, Sky News does, to say that Iran claims he's in protective custody. No, they don't like the guy. They're opposed to the guy. They're worried probably that he's going to do terrorism inside their own country. If they have him at all. I don't trust these guys one bit, the Sky News. And I love this. The next one is a source. A source said that Iran is the main route through which funding for the organization is made, apparently for Al-Qaeda. Really? That Iran is the main source of funding for Al-Qaeda? If that's true, it would turn the whole thing upside down because most of their funding historically have come from Saudi Arabia and then obviously some from Pakistan, who are both Sunnis. Now the Shia are funding Al-Qaeda? But did you notice what a source said? Not an intelligence source. I mean, I understand anonymous sources. You got to use them every once in a while. Sometimes they're from the intelligence community, but you clarify who they are. Here in this joke of an article, they're like, a source said it. It could have been my uncle. It could have been a neocon. It could have been a guy who desperately wants to attack Iran. Could have been an ExxonMobil executive. But a source said it. And then they even clarify and say, the sources have no specific intelligence on what the Al-Qaeda target is, nor when it might be launched. Because that source is full of crap. And there is no such attack. It's not to say that Al-Qaeda doesn't want to attack Western targets. Of course they do. Are they working in cahoots with Iran? You have no evidence of that. They say, oh, you know, it could be Europe. It could be the Olympic Games. It could be anything. And maybe they're going to hit Santa Claus. And a source said that, stressing that this was only an assessment, not based on any specific intelligence. I love how they admit that in paragraph 18 or 28 or whatever this is, right? Oh, in the middle of the article, oh yeah, by the way, we have no specific intelligence. And then they claim that there's a secret memo that says that intensive cooperation over recent months between Iran and Al-Qaeda with a view to conducting a joint attack against Western targets. What's the source for that? Secret memos. And of course, you see it throughout the article, all these assumptions. They say, for example, without any hint of like whether it's true or untrue, like meaning like, is there evidence of this or not? They say Israel, which would face an existential threat from a nuclear Iran, has been debating the merits and dangers of an attack on Iran. Now, which part am I worried about there? The one that just assumes, like, well, obviously Israel faces an existential threat from Iran, because if they were to have a nuclear program, they would obviously work with Al-Qaeda, and obviously they would target Israel, and obviously they would wipe Israel off the map. These things are all obvious because it's an assumption in the middle of this Sky News article. So hence, all this is, of course, to lead up to, since there are these fantasies of a source of ours with no intelligence to back it up whatsoever, and just a bunch of assumptions we made, we should obviously attack. We should launch a war against Iran based on these fantasies and assumptions. This is how our media and our politicians are trying to drive us to another disastrous war in the Middle East. But if you thought Iraq was bad, Iran is a much larger country, both in size and in population, and has far more capabilities. They want to drive us towards this disaster for many different reasons. We shouldn't want any piece of it. And it's our job here on the Young Turks to actually be a news source for you guys that calls out this crap.